It's absolutely beautiful. And thank you so much for that, because, every person that I get to meet, I get to take away things from them, and especially these
Yeah.
views. And I will surely take away from that one. So that's amazing for sure. And yeah, what about you, Stacy? What do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo the sentiment about what I've not shared is that there was a dark point for me
Okay.
when I first did get furloughed because I wasn't totally confident that I could do it.
Okay.
Um, only because I just wasn't totally certain. There was always that voice in the back of my head, like, you can't, you can't, you can't, you can't, which is always why I never pulled the trigger, right?
Right.
And I ended up taking a Tony Robbins online seminar. It was his first one that he ever did.
Yeah.
And it was like a 4-day intensive, crazy thing.
Okay.
And before that, I was like spending like days, just laying around, not being productive, not eating well, not anything that I normally did.
Right.
And I knew it was like, I always put it to people like, for some people, it's like a cliff and it's like about to go like that. And that's about how I kind of felt. So I knew I had to pick myself up and like do something.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the turning point for me, that I was like, I'm going to do this. And that was before Ashley and I had met and, and really talked about IC. So I would say to anyone doubting themselves, like, figure out what it's going to take for you to get the confidence you need, whether it's talking to mentors, whether it's taking some sort of course or reading a book or, getting on routine. One of the things that Ashley and I talk about for people is you need to get on a routine. If you've been laid off, you must get on a routine. You must get out of bed at a certain time. You must, not hit the snooze button and, exercise and have your desk space looking good and productive. And, we have a list. And if you want it, email me, Stacy@integrativeconnection.com or Ashley@integrativeconnection.com. And we'll share, tips around that. But it's very important that you have structure to your day and you have, meditation and all these different things that we've come up with that have basically, saved us, kept us sane during a time that was insane. And that was one of the things that really, really helped. So IC grew out of me being, a little bit dark and uncomfortable, and then really pushed myself to the edge. And I think that starting a business has been the greatest learning experience of my life. And I've learned more within the last less than a year than, my whole career, because you're forced to be scrappy. And, for us, we didn't really, some people are like, oh, you have this, get a lawyer, you have this, get an accountant, you have this, get a consultant, you have this, do this, and pay people out. We didn't do that. Google became our best friend. We wrote our own contracts. We filed our own, paperwork. We did everything ourselves. We wrote our own website. So all the content you read, we wrote, so we didn't hire a content editor and, whatnot. So we literally did everything on our own. And I think when you do that, you take a lot of pride in the product, in the service. Absolutely. And in what you did. So I would just say, if you're not happy, you have control over everything and you really can change the situation that you're in.
You can. And it's funny, some of those things you say, some of those little life hacks, I guess you could call them, that mm-hmm. Keep you on your feet. It's, as a writer, I write about those kinds of things all the time, especially for Farm Brand. We write about the little things you can do just to propel yourself forward. And I guess even with that, as I write about these things that you can do, the worst, darkest times in my own life are when I'm realizing, oh boy, I'm not doing all of these things myself necessarily. So it's, changed will never happen without initiation. And even if it's the smallest of initiations, I think that's extremely important, and just dominoes into something, you know, who knows, a small business kind of how
Right.
so yeah. And then also, you know, I think it's amazing that when you finally do listen to yourself and you decide to do something and you put yourself out there, you know, I personally have found that the world tends to listen. It tends to work with you and not against you, even though you think it wants to. And then like your situation now, next thing you know, you've met Ashley, and it's all just comes together. And I think that's the world kind of listening to you saying it's time, or something of the sorts, I guess. So yeah, your story, you know, as entrepreneurs is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I love hearing about your challenges and, you know, your victories and everything like that. And that's, on top of that, obviously, I think the Integrative Connection is just an incredible place for, you know, people who need those services to go, and you know, really a life-changing source there. You know, we've been talking about our own careers and how, you know, starting a business has changed your life so much. Well, you're also changing other people's careers, and the impact on their life is just endless. And I think we said in the beginning just how much your job affects everything, and it does. So yeah, no, just thank you for taking the time to talk about this, and for helping people through that, and creating something really, really amazing out of it.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
And then we also wanted, I know we mentioned this in email, I wanted to offer your community, if they want like the 20-minute consult, we'll offer that complimentary, kind of like whatever they need, whether it's like job search, interview, resume, LinkedIn, like just kind of like all the things that we cover. We'd love to offer that to your community and your audience as well.
That is so amazing of you. And like, truly, again, it's such a pleasure to, you know, be able to just continue this positive effect and continue the inspiration to higher extents there.